Hello, UK Crime Book Club. I think you can tell by my face how excited I am. So, Alice Hunter, introduce yourself, show off these gorgeous book covers, and tell us a little bit about them. And congratulations on publication day.
I know, publication day. It's been a mad, mad day. So today I've not published. Well, I have, but the publisher has published The Serial Killer's Daughter, which is part of the Serial Killer Family series. So my first one was The Serial Killer's Wife, which is behind me on a T-shirt. And yeah, so I it's not a follow-on as such. It's the same theme with Serial Killer Family, but this is focused on the daughter because it kind of gives that away on the title, doesn't it? Really,
It really does, yeah.
So it's following Jenny, who is a vet. She's got a lovely family set up and everything, but she has a secret past that she's not told anybody about. That her father is a serial killer. So strange things start happening, and there's an abduction, and the crime is very similar to that her father committed. So she's beginning to think that something's amiss. So she is suspicious of everyone around her. She lives in a small village, so there's a lot of it's a tight knit community, and there's obviously a lot of characters around that it could be that have been involved with the abduction. But she also begins to question herself because she's thinking there's murder running the blood.
It's such a clever book. And such a clever idea as well. Let's start off with The Serial Killer's Wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to cover both because I'll wait for a few more people to come in. I know Kaz has said hello to us both, and she'll be tagging people as I was trying to do, but it wasn't working for me for some reason. So let's go to where the idea first came from, just for the first book, and then to have kind of because it's not a series in a traditional sense, is it?
No. So the first book, it's with Avon. I also write Sam Carrington with Avon. So it was something that we came up with, and they kind of came to me knowing my background with working in prisons. So this series was a bit more aimed at my knowledge, of working with prisoners and murderers, and I haven't worked with a serial killer. I do need to say that I have not worked with a serial killer that I know of.
I'm going to say that you know
of. But yeah, so I think it was something that came about. It was a different concept at the time, and there's a lot of serial killer kind of books, but this was more focused on the wife and how she felt about it, and it was straight in really with the serial killer's wife. It's the first chapter we know that her husband is arrested for a murder.
I mean, it literally opens there, doesn't it?
It opens there, so it's straight in running really with that, and so we are focused on the wife as opposed to the serial killer. Although, as you know, we do have
there's multiple points of view, isn't it? So we do hear Tom's side and we hear Beth's side.
Yeah, and then we go back and we look at the victim's sort of perspective as well, which I quite enjoyed writing, really, because thinking about that sort of side of it. Because with a serial killer, initially, obviously you've got to have more than 3 or more murders. So I wanted something because obviously he's had this kind of behaviour all of his life, really, Tom. So he had to have some kind of past. I didn't want it to be, he's I don't know how old is he? I've forgotten how old he is in the book now, 40? Something or late 30s, mid 30s.
Yeah, well, it wasn't quite not what I was focusing on.
Yeah, I didn't want it to start as he started killing now, so he had to have got a past. So I like that. It's quite nice to bring that element in as well, although the focus is on the here and now and how it's affecting Beth and her little daughter and the family. And again, it's a close knit, tight knit community, because that's the sort of thing I like to write. I live in a village that I've lived in all my life, so I've very well versed with village life and how wonderful it can be, but also how claustrophobic it can be.
Yeah.
How everybody knows everybody else's business. It's quite, it can be really quite difficult. So if something bad happens, you know, and the whole village knows, you can't get away from it, can you? It's like
No, like
so
with a fishbowl.
explore that kind of aspect of how it must feel to have the horrible knowledge that your husband has just been arrested for murder, and what everyone's going to think.
I did wonder why you went for villages with both books, and now I know.
Yeah, they say write what you know, don't they? You know, in some respects. So I thought that is where I'm comfortable. I mean, the village in the serial killer's wife is Cotswolds. So I had to do a little bit of you know, research on that because I've never been to the Cotswolds. It looks beautiful. So it's like Little Chew and all that kind of area. It was really nice. So the cottages, and it's really, really pretty. But this serial killer's wife is now a Devon-based one, which I live. So that was a little easier to write because I know the area. So I think it saves some of the research time. I think when you know the place where you know writing about, it's easier.
It must do, but does it not also worry you that you're setting something in a very recognisable place and you're putting serial killers there?
Well, I don't name. Oh, or do I? Now then, I'm trying to think. I don't think I name real places.
I don't think
I might
so, but I
do.
didn't Google everywhere. But
I didn't. The actual village is
excuse
that
me.
name. So yeah, I wouldn't put my actual village there. But most of the people in the village know what I do, obviously, because I've just said that that's what happens in villages, and they know what I'm up to.
But they're really keeping an eye on you. Do you see curtains twitch every time you walk past?
No, not quite, but you do get asked a lot of questions, you know. Or I've been asked actually, can you put me in the book? So you know, that's quite nice. Yeah, but there is
Is
that
any
occasion.
particular character, or do they want to be the victim? Do they want to be the murderer? What are people asking you to be?
Oh no, nobody's asked to be the victim or the murderer. It's more of the sideline or somebody from the village, you know, like the postmistress, something like that. They wanted to be. So yeah, not. I haven't had anyone ask to be a killer. I don't think.
See, now that's the thing we
Actually,
normally ask the
one of my
most.
prison officer friends did ask that actually. So yeah, but prison officers are a whole different thing. So they're really funny people. They have to
Well, you'd
be
have to be.
to do that job. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got lots of hellos already. So hello everyone who's already watching. Somebody's saying they were panicking because they couldn't find the interview. Well, you found us now, but I don't know who that was from because I can't see it. But Fiona Webb does say she has the serial killer's wife on top of the TBR pile. She'll have to bring it to the top. So I'm going to tell everyone what I told you just before we went live. So I read it earlier this week, and at one point I was putting the shopping away, and I stood my phone in the fridge because I couldn't. I had to put the shopping away, but I couldn't tear my eyes away from the book. But then obviously I closed the fridge and couldn't find my phone. So then it didn't last long because I actually remembered for once.
Just as
But
well.
I'm done with it, which shows how good it is. So highly, highly recommend it. I know Leslie really likes fast-paced and really things that grip you straight away. And yeah, highly recommend this book. Absolutely loved it. It's so hard to talk about though, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that is, I'm dreadful because I could easily drop something in that gives the whole thing away. So I've really got to think before I speak, which isn't me at all. Unfortunately, I do tend to just look and then think,
Well,
oh,
if I think you're going somewhere you shouldn't, I'll stop you.
thank you. Thank you.
I'll do my best.
I can't see anybody. So hello to everybody. I can't see the names or anything of who's
Yeah,
here.
some of them we've got names, so I go hello, and some I've got Facebook user. I know Leslie's watching. I'm sure I've seen Leslie, but it's not. It's not giving me the.
I can see somebody's out to dinner. That's nice.
That's Donna out with Holland Drake.
Enjoy the dinner.
So I interviewed Malcolm last week, and he's gone with Donna and I believe Linda. I don't know. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but they've gone out for a meal tonight in Harrogate. So
could have taken me. I'm quite jealous because I know it's Harrogate now, isn't it? And I'm quite jealous that everyone's going there as well.
But you're going to bloody Scotland, you were saying. No, lots of the members are going there.
Oh, yeah, I am. I think it's the Saturday that I'm going, but it's such a short because I'm in Devon and quite a distance. I'm going up on the plane, and there's one plane that leaves, so I've got no choice of time. So I get up there, and I think I've got like 2 hours before my panel, and then I fly back the following morning quite quickly. So it's a real flying visit. But,
Literally.
I've never been before, so I've never been to Scotland before. So
I
that's going to be
haven't.
such a shame that I'm not going to be able to actually get to see much of it. But yeah, have you done bloody Scotland before? Oh,
No, this will be my first Harrogate. The only real crime events I've been to, me and Kaz hosted an event for Daniel McBreakneck, who's watching, hi Dan, in Wigan a few weeks ago. I have no concept of time of where I am and where an event was, so I don't know how many weeks ago, but it was recently. I think it was in June. Dan will tell me off if I'm wrong, but I'm no good with dates. I'm terrible. And the other one is Crime Central in Manchester, which Rob Parker, who is 1/3 of the Blood Brothers, hosts. So that's at Manchester Central Library, and that is really fun. So they have 3 different authors, and Rob interviews them, and Rob also an author. And yeah, absolutely brilliant night. We always have such a good laugh. It's really nice.
oh,
So I get to meet lots of authors, which is lovely. See everyone in person.
I've only really done. I did Harrogate once, and the best, closest is the Bristol Crime Fest.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
I tend to do that one because it's an hour on the train. It's quite easy. Yeah, it's quite nice to think about travelling a bit further afield, but in this heat wave, the thought of being on a train for 7 hours.
Can you imagine?
No.
If there's no aircon, I'm not going.
Well, that happened when I did go. The aircon wasn't working, and it wasn't this hot, but it was still pretty hot. And yeah, it was horrible. Couldn't even open a window. It was like normally you can go to the bit in the middle and slide the window down. Nothing. Then run out of water. It was just like I thought I was going to die. On the train home.
Oh my word, that is not fun. No, I've never been to Scotland. I wanted to go to Harrogate and bloody Scotland when I took a year off from work, but that year was 2020.
Oh, whoops!
Clearly, it wasn't meant to be.
Can you not have another year now?
Well, I kind of am now. I'm at home all the time now. I don't have to go out to work. I tend to basically, this is where I sit most of the day, unless I'm watching Tipping Point, and then I sit in the front room. But I've got a bit of an obsession with watching these big coins fall.
I do too. I could watch that all the time.
Yeah.
I'd be obsessed. Do you remember the penny ones at the arcades, the push pennies?
Yeah.
Obsessed with those, absolutely.
We used to go on holiday to Haven when the kids were little, and they'd be pointing at things in the 2p machines, and we have got some absolutely fantastic taps. I've just stood for an hour, 2 hours, putting 2p's in to win a Frozen keyring. None of them were even into Frozen at the time. It's still on my keys. Nobody else wanted it once I won it.
That's funny. Oh, brilliant. Oh, dear. That's really good.
Tony Millington says hello. So behind me, and Leslie said it was, she thinks it was the 11th of June. That sounds about right. I can't confirm that that's definite, even though I was there. Not sure. I'm terrible with dates. But Tony, we've been talking today, and I'm meeting him in Harrogate on Saturday. So I've got family first and keep your friends close that I'm going to have him sign when I meet him in person.
Oh, that's good.
We've been friends for a while, and I love his books. So yeah, I'm excited to get them signed.
So you have to take a suitcase of books up with you so you can get them signed.
No, I'm taking 3. Most of my books are on the Kindle, to be fair, and I've got some signed ones already as well, but can't carry all that weight. Can you imagine?
No.
Carrying it all day. No. Yeah, no, it'd be dreadful. And I'm taking The Birdwatcher by William Shaw as well, because I've had that for a couple of years from the first time we started doing the online videos like we're doing now. Do we still call it videos? I still call it video. Yeah. But he really helped us to get to know the software and give us ideas about how to So I bought that at the time with a voucher that I got from somebody. So I've been keeping it ready to meet him. but I keep remembering that I'm going to meet him and getting really giddy. So I will be a nightmare on Saturday. Everyone will be like, who is that woman running around screaming?
That's brilliant.
So what have you done today other than obviously coming here tonight?
Well, I went, my son and his wife are having a baby, and I took them for a scan this morning. So that was the first thing I did.
Congratulations, that is always fantastic.
While I was waiting for them, I popped across to Asda and Sainsbury's and like went book spotting really. So so there's a special edition of The Serial Killer's Daughter in Asda, which has got
Oh, so it is in Asda.
yes, so it's got an extra chapter, so a bonus chapter in that one that isn't in any of the others. So that's kind of exciting. I quite like that. And Tesco, it's a Fern Britain pick. So there's additional material in that as well. So there's like a Q&A and book club questions and that sort of thing in that one. So, and it's also at Sainsbury's. So I've got quite a really good selection of supermarkets. So hopefully they will fly off the shelves. Is the hope.
I'm sure they will. So I was just trying to have a look on my phone who it said. Somebody's asked, how is it seeing your book in the supermarkets? But I'm really sorry, I can't see who it is. For some reason, my phone doesn't want to play, so I can't tell.
I have that weird kind of excitement, embarrassment issue with the supermarkets because you see it and you're excited. Oh my God, it's on the shelf. Then you've got to have a selfie. So you stand in front of the shelf, and then I'm embarrassed because I'm thinking people are looking at me thinking, why is she getting a photo with a book? And so then I have that issue of, do I say, I'm the author of this book? Like some kind of weirdo. or do I just like sneak it back on the shelf and wander off? So yeah, it's really exciting to see it up there. But I do have I think was it last The Serial Killer's Wife. I didn't see it for quite some time on the shelf because I had it every time I went. I missed it, and brilliantly that they'd gone. So it's good that they were selling. But I just think, oh, every time I went in there, I couldn't find it. So it's ages before I saw The Serial Killer's Wife. But yeah, this one I managed to see. And my other son bought it. It was out on the Asda shelves in our local Asda last night. So he came home with a copy last night and he bought it. So I thought, oh, that's really sweet of him. So at least I knew I had one sale.
I think we're going to have to get you all excited and take you into the shops and get it signed, and then leave a little notice saying signed by the author, or put some stickers on it or something.
Yeah, is that illegal?
Not if you ask. I don't think it's criminal damage if you get permission.
Right. Okay, maybe I should
just make them sign something first, just so they can't say anything if it all goes wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do know an author that does some brilliant videos of himself going round and sneakily signing some books and things in the supermarkets. It's really funny. But yeah, I haven't got the confidence to do that, but never mind.
I don't think I'd be brave enough to sneakily do it, but I think I might. Yeah, I think if I asked permission, I'm very much a permission seeker.
Yeah, so, bearing in mind I write these kind of things, you'd think I'd be a little bit more ballsy, wouldn't you? But no,
because it all goes into the books.
It goes into the book.
Let's not ramp up your behaviour until you're literally acting out the scenes in the books. I mean, let's keep you here, and the books can be here, and let's not be in the middle with the behaviour.
I do wonder sometimes if people read the books and think, oh, she's, her mind's a bit twisted. Because, you do, don't you? When I'm reading other people's criminal books, crime books, I do think, oh my God, where did they get this from? There's some dark stuff that comes out sometimes. And, yeah.
There's definitely some dark stuff
in there. So, obviously coming out in the right way.
Somebody has asked, do authors do supermarket signings? I've given up trying to find out who it is because it means I keep looking down at my phone and I'd rather not. So, because it's not updated.
I've not seen anything. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe some of the big named authors might. I don't know.
Don't know.
But I don't think
I'm sure in the past they'd set up a table because I'm sure that I used to work in a Tesco a while back and I know somebody came for a signing and I have no idea who it was.
Okay, I didn't know. I must admit I've never asked, so I don't know. I know Smiths, obviously, but they're not supermarkets. Smiths quite often have signings.
Yeah.
But no, I might ask. That's a very good thing. I might do that whilst they're all out there. I might pop in and maybe go to Tesco's and have a quick. I'll go with my pen in the hope that yeah. I've signed books in Asda, Waterstones before, and I've gone up and said, "This I'm the author of this book. Can I sign the ones that you've got?" That's okay. They're normally really good, and they'll stick a sticker on it then.
Yeah, I was thinking, is it Waterstones that put the signed by the author, the little round sticker? I was trying to kind of attach it to, like I can't do dates, I can't attach things in my head to places either. So
there's lots of things I can't link up anymore. I think it's my age or something.
I'm dreadful. Aggie's asking, she's saying, sorry, I haven't read any of your books. How would you recommend them? Well, I hope you heard me say how much I was enjoying it, Aggie, and I put it in the fridge and I lost it. So I just...
yeah, they're separate books, so there's no link as such with characters. So they're both completely standalone novels. They're just part of the family serial killer books, but that just means we're focusing on one member of the family, a family, not the same family. So yeah, you absolutely read this one, and nothing gets spoiled or anything. So completely different.
I've got to admit, I know you read the blurb out the other day, but I've not gone and looked for the blurb because even though I knew they didn't follow on from each other, I did in my head assume it was going to be Poppy.
Right, now there's the story. So this is the story here. So that would have been.
Is this going to spoil anything?
No, this doesn't spoil anything. It's not Poppy.
Which anyone would know if they actually glanced at it, but I purposely avoided looking.
Yeah, there's no links to the first book because of the fact that the daughter, is like in her 40s. Jenny is like 40 something. So I couldn't link it to the first book at all because of the difference in timescales, unfortunately. But I think with both books, there are elements I'd love to pick up again in another book. So I would never say I'm never going to have a book that links to it. But at the moment, the next one after the Serial Killer's Daughter is the Serial Killer's Sister. That's out next June.
I'm so excited.
That's also nothing. That's not a sister related to this book at all or anything like that. So it is again another family member and a different story entirely. So and I don't know whether that will stick to the three, whether it will be a trilogy kind of series or whether we'll keep going. And because I can't,
there's so much mileage in it.
There is so much mileage. I can't imagine people are going to go, "Oh my god, there's the serial killer's son now, and there's the serial killer's granddaughter," or whatever. It's just going to be. People would be like, "Oh, for God's sake, when's she going to stop?" Maybe. So perhaps I shouldn't go too far. But
I don't know. You could go a long way with it. Serial killer's pen pal. There's a fun one.
Well, this is what I love as well, is people have been messaging saying, "What about this and what about that?" And we could bring that, and it's great because it starts off conversations, and B, it's given me so many good ideas. Like, carry it on, bring it all on. I shall look into it. But definitely, there's just lots of different family relationships. There's lots of friends. There's all sorts of things, isn't there? Where, I mean, I don't know anybody's background that's listening. You might have somebody in a family that's maybe had, been committed a crime like murder or something, and that does worry me slightly in the fact that I don't want it to look like I'm being glorifying serial killers or anything like that.
Fiction and
it's fiction and it's based. I do think I'm trying not to glorify it in the sense that I'm not. Not going all in gory or anything like that, not too much detail. Although obviously with Serial Killer's Wife, there is elements of descriptive, of what happens in the past. But because of my background, I'm sorry, I just can't help the fact that I was fascinated by some of the people I worked with, and I heard so much about the things they did. They described how they killed people to me, and you hear so much that it just filters in, I guess, and I've used what I know, if you see what I mean. Not in the same. I mean, not the same kind of crimes. I've not like regurgitated any of their crimes. I've mixed and matched and used bits and pieces from different ones. But it's more about how I felt as well when they were telling me, so I can bring in that emotion into it because of how I felt when I'm sitting opposite somebody who's telling me how they strangled somebody, and how it's just, at the time it's quite shocking, but that was, after a while of hearing those stories, you do become a little bit desensitized. So yeah, it's quite interesting, but yeah, I think there is a fascination with serial killers. I understand that some people are like, well, what about the victims? We remember the serial killers' names, we don't remember the victims' names and things like that. And I know that, when you watch the Ted Bundy documentary and things, the women that were at the courthouse and they were just completely all over him, weren't they? Like, they were, how wonderful he was and how gorgeous he is. And you think, oh my God, it's so weird to think that people are putting him up on this pedestal and loving him for being a killer. It's just very strange.
It is very strange, but for you as well, surely it's kind of therapeutic to get all of that out on the page and kind of try and make some sense of the emotions you must have felt hearing the stories.
I think that is it. I think it is quite cathartic, and you do, bring out some things that you'd forgotten. And you like, when you're in a situation, you're often not thinking about it at the time. Your focus is on what they're telling you, your job. Basically, your focus is on your job. But then I used to get in the car and drive home, and those things that had happened and things I've been told would play on my mind quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you go to bed sometimes, and like, for example, when I first started at prison, I couldn't read novels. I could not. I'd end up reading the same page over and over again, because as I'm reading it, I'm relating it to something that's happened that day, and I just could never read a book. It was really horrible. But that eventually, after a year or so, I started to be able to read, and just, I don't know, it took it in stride a bit more. But I do think there are things in my head that still bother me even now. I've been left the service for 7 years, and there's still, every now and then something will come up and I think, oh God, remember that, and that awful thing that he told me. And it's just like, really, and I think having children, so I worked with quite a lot of sex offenders, and my children were quite young at the time, and that was difficult, because you can't help but relate what they're telling you to your own children. And so there's certain aspects of the job that were definitely hard to deal with, and I do think maybe it's when you're writing it out, you do feel like you're releasing some of that.
Yeah, and also there is a lot of humour as well in your books. There's a line I was going to.
I can't remember. I'm not funny. There can't be any humour in there.
There's some stuff that really made me laugh, but I'll tell you what one of them that really chuckled
I
at
wonder if I might.
afterwards.
For the serial killer's wife, there is one line I do like myself, so it might be the same
I wonder
one.
if it's the same one.
I don't think I'm funny, so it's got to be the same line. There's only one line in it that's funny.
I'm not going to say what it is here because I think it's so unexpected. It's really funny.
You have to tell me afterwards.
So yeah, I will. I've got it written down here because I was debating. I was going to ask you beforehand if I could read it out, but now I don't think I should, because I think it's just one of those things that you come across and then you'll laugh. And you really laugh, but I can't go into any detail about why. But it was really funny.
No, I'm intrigued now. We've got the same thing. Okay, that's interesting. I look forward to
So, at what point for the serial killer's wife? They both start brilliantly. So the serial killer's wife starts with the detectives turning up. Beth's at the door. She's put the little girl Poppy, who's about 3.
Yep.
She's about 3. I was trying to think how old she was. She's put Poppy to bed and they're waiting for Tom to come home. And Tom's late home, which he's not normally. And there's a knock at the door. She thinks he's not got his key. And she yanks the door open to confront him for being late and not having his key and disturbing her. And it's the police stood there. So automatically, straight away, thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the serial killer's daughter, it's a similar kind of thing. You just thrown right in straight away with this woman stood in the bathroom scrubbing mud from under her nails, and she's no idea how it got there. So both straight away, you right in that scene, and then it's ages afterwards you read it, and then ages later you think, I didn't come up for air from that first scene. Has to be something in the house distracted.
That's what you like to hear. That sounds really good. I'm really pleased.
They're absolutely brilliant. They really are.
Thank you. I was going to say, I do like to think that, when you're opening up the beginning of the book, you just want those questions, like the reader to question, okay, what is going on here? You need them to keep turning the pages, don't you? And hopefully that is it. I mean, I think there's a slow. The serial killer's daughter is definitely slower build up than the serial killer's wife, because, like you said, it's straight in with the police in the first one. But yeah, and not the epilogue. What's the first bit called? Prologue. I can't remember what I'm talking about. The prologue of the serial killer's daughter. I quite enjoyed writing that, which I'm not sure what that says about me, really.
I'm not telling anybody about the prologue. I think we'll leave it for people to read. It can't be a spoiler if it's at the beginning, though, surely. But
no, it's not a spoiler.
I just finished eating when I read it, and I'm not normally easily nauseated by anything, but yeah, I'm glad I wasn't. Sometimes I am eating while I'm reading, and people think it's weird because I'll be reading about a murder or something, and just having my tea with not tea. We tend to all sit together at tea time, but start having my lunch by myself and still reading. But no, I'm glad I wasn't eating.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with eating, and I can like watch Operations and stuff on TV. You know, when you've got the 24 hours in A&E or something like that, I can watch Operations and eat. But then I did used to nurse, so maybe that helps with that. But there are certain things that I can't watch, like in fiction, like films that are gruesome. I can't watch. It's really strange, isn't it? I don't know what. Like,
It's
the Saw films are horrific, and I cannot watch them.
I don't watch horror.
Sorry?
I don't watch horror. I can read almost anything, but I don't watch anything with jump scares, which I normally try to avoid saying because now people are going to jump out at me, and I'm accidentally going to punch someone, and I've never hit anybody in my life, but you can guarantee somebody's going to jump out, and I'm going to react. So you have been warned, not you. Just whichever one of these admins and members thinks it's going to be funny, it won't be. And then I'll cry for a week, so don't do it.
See, I started, I don't know why, at some point in like my 30s maybe, screaming when something happens on the TV. You know, I never used to, like the jump scares, I never used to scream, but now I scream, so I can't go to the cinema anymore because I will scream. I mean, do people scream at the cinema? Maybe they do.
Don't know.
Or I just watch like this.
Oh, I watched perhaps.
I make a little hole in between my fingers, just like that, so that I can snap and shut if I don't like it.
Yeah. See, you're braver than me. I go whole hand. Look through them that way. The Demogorgon, when that was first in Stranger Things in the first series.
I love that series so much.
I love it, but I had to rewatch the series once I kind of had an idea of it.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I watched it twice because the first time was like this, with little gaps and my nephew giggling at me.
Well, did you watch is it the house? No, The Haunting of Hill House.
I won't watch things like that. I'd read the book maybe, but I won't watch
that was
it.
scary. That was like real jump scares, and that some of them were just horrific. But I watched that on my own, like in the dead of night. I did quite like that.
You mad
woman? But I still would scream. I still scream.
Yeah, can you imagine? All the kids come running because I'm sat screaming, watching something by myself. The kids wouldn't let me tell me what not to watch. They'll be telling me about something they've watched, and they'll say, "Don't you watch it, Mum?" Right, okay, I'll take your word for it. I will not watch that.
But it's quite difficult thinking about that now, actually, in terms of the jump scares, of being able to get that into a book. You can't really do that, can you? You can't have a jump scare really in a book.
You can have a kind of a tense moment.
Yeah, tense. The tenseness is there, but it's not the same kind of.
Not quite the same, no.
You have to read it, so you can't replicate that similar kind of wow.
I don't know. I do remember I can't remember how old I was, 20s or 30s, I'm not sure. I think I was in my 20s, reading The Shining. And I couldn't read it past lunchtime because then I wouldn't be able to sleep that night.
Right. Yeah, that's.
And I do remember that absolutely feeling of being chill, just completely chilling feeling running through me. And I do think there were times when I made myself jump, trying to not to be too scared, and I made myself jump with it. But I think that's probably quite a rare thing, and I must just be a right wuss.
No, I don't think you are. I think that's quite common. But what's the scariest book you've read?
Oh, The Shining, absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah.
And, but would you think that now, if you read it now? Do you think it's just because you were younger?
I don't know.
I'm
Do you know what?
interested in
It's funny, isn't it? Because at the time, young children, husband away in the army, so that, you know, a lot of tension, a lot of stress, and not living near home at the time. And yeah, maybe. I don't know. Am I brave enough to read it again? That is the thing.
I've not read it, so I'm going to read that now
You
because
absolutely should read it, and then you tell me whether you think I can handle it.
I keep trying to find scary, real proper scary books, because I don't seem to get scared during reading them. So I might try that one then. I want to be creeped out.
I was definitely creeped out.
Isn't it? What's that about? Why do people want to be creeped out? Is it
I
just
don't know.
feeling that like tingling of anticipation and fear? Because that's the thing as well with like writing. Quite often people say, "Why do you write all this dark stuff?" And there is an element of like wanting to be afraid, but also wanting to understand why and like being able
Exactly.
to relate certain. Because that's the other thing you just said about the position you were in at the time. You know, it is a lot of it is where you're at that point in your life, what's going on for you, to whether you can relate to a book or whether things in the book, I don't know, something makes you feel creepy or whatever because of something else that's going on. So that's a
Mm,
really fun part, isn't it, about having masses of readers all experiencing, they're all reading the same book, but all taking something different from it or experiencing it differently. So I love that when everyone says, well, this, you know, this particular part of the book made me feel this or whatever. It's really interesting to hear how these, you know, how your words have kind of affected people. But it's quite a strange thing, really.
Now, as you know, I'm still reading The Serial Killer's Daughter because I didn't have the forethought to ask you for an arc, so I've been reading it today on the day it's come out. However, The Serial Killer's Wife, I've completely. Do you know that thing we said where you're halfway through a sentence and you
Yeah,
completely
always
forget what
fun.
you're going to say?
Yeah, just start a different sentence.
I'm sure I'll remember in a minute and we'll come back to it. Somebody said Black Mamba by William Friend is a good creepy read. It's creepy,
Oh,
not full on horror. So,
okay.
Black
I
Mamba by
like that
William
one.
Friend.
Thank you. I've not heard of that. William
Oh, I
Friend.
know what I was going to say. That I didn't predict things that happened. Now, I'm
Oh,
generally pretty good. Now, it's not a subject we can go into, but I think it's important that you know that it wasn't obvious. The things that
that's
were,
really good. Thank you. That gets harder and harder. I think the more of those of like psychological thrillers that you read, the harder it is then to do something slightly different or to try and like, you know, surprise your reader
yeah,
because everything's been done. You know, it's all like really hard, isn't it, to come up with something unique now or, you know, different way of doing it. So thank you.
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
And I will, when we're offline, I'll tell you exactly when I figured out what and whatever. But no, there wasn't any. No, I was really wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit I was really wrong, and it was such a pleasant surprise.
Oh, good. Thank you. That's nice. Let's hope the second book does the same.
I know. I mean, as soon as we're done, I've got it open on my Kindle app. I'll tell you, I'm
Don't put it in
at.
the fridge this time.
I can't. It's on my laptop.
Well, oh, on the laptop. Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah, no,
It's on the
definitely.
laptop.
If you put that in the
Um,
fridge, it really is a little bit worrying, isn't it?
I don't think it'd shock anyone if I put my laptop in the fridge and couldn't
At least you
find it.
didn't put it in the oven as well, though. That's the other thing, isn't it? Fridge is
As
not
long as the
allowed.
oven's not on or warm, I think I'll be good. But no, it's ridiculous the places I put things. But it's always the same places, so I can at least follow the trail of debris and
All right,
find it.
that's pretty good going.
So
See, it's not that bad.
that's not too bad.
Not bad. It is good, isn't it? I mean, when you get a book that you have to kind of walk around and carry on reading, I love that. You know, that's what you're after, isn't it? That kind of read where you're so engrossed that you
Yeah,
please don't speak to me, don't ask me to do anything. If I have to cook, I'm doing it with one hand whilst I'm trying to read at the same time. But
yeah,
that's why really I've got audio as well because I can put that on while I'm cooking, and you know, that's basically when I use audio. It is during like tea when I'm cooking tea. So yeah, I do quite enjoy that. At least you can't do anything. The only thing is with that is you've got earphones, haven't you? I don't have earphones, so I'm putting it on, and then I can hear my husband chatting away. I'm like, can you just be quiet now? This is, got to a bit in the book I need to hear. And I keep having to press pause.
Yeah, no, I hate that. No, the earphones, funnily enough, I find it really hard to concentrate without them in, even without music. Because this is what I do when, there's a house full of people and, 4 kids and a husband, it is busy. So this is what I do, I put them in. And sometimes I'll have music on, but a lot of the time I find I can't have music on. Because even if I'm trying not to get drawn into it, something about the music will make me feel some sort of emotion. And I don't want to feel, I want to think. So the feelings have to come from what I'm doing. So no, I find it really hard to concentrate without them. Bizarre. But it's also really good for being kind of out of the house. Headphones in, people think you're listening to music, so nobody talks to you. I've just given the game away, haven't I?
A little bit.
I remember my dad telling me years ago, he was sat on the bus once and he's like bopping his head with these earphones in, and this guy's looking at him funny, and the guy gets off the bus and my dad realises that the thing's not even in his pocket where he thought, it's just on his knee. Pretending to listen to something and everyone's like looking at him. And this is the cloth that I am cut from.
That's
I think it's Leslie who said audio's brilliant for multitasking. I can't listen to something, I couldn't have listened to The Serial Killer's Wife and really concentrated. My brain won't do it. I'd have to be sat down and not multitasking because I'd be too distracted by something else. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, like I said, when I'm cooking and listening, sometimes I will have to, you've got your little thing where you can go back 30 seconds and that sort of thing. Quite often, because I suddenly get lost in my cutting or something. I think, what did she just say? So I have to go back a bit. Yeah, it is. No, I'm not very good at multitasking. I never have been, because they always just say that whole thing was, women are good at multitasking. I think,
I am with certain things, but no, probably not.
I don't look like I'm doing a few things at once, but I'm definitely messing up on one of them, at least.
I'm trying to think what I've actually listened to on Audible. I know that when I was reading Rosemary Schrader's book, The Last Supper, I know that I part read that because I bought the book and then I had credits to use on Audible as well. So I was doing both, which I've never done before. Other than that, it's generally some non-fiction, or it's Queeve MacDonald with his Bunny McGarry stories. They're hilarious. So I do find I can use that for like cleaning and things. And somehow it just works. But
I'm trying to think what I'm listening to. Because I'm now listening on this, I quite often forget the title of what I'm listening to. See, we're not very good at The Night She Vanished.
Oh, I've heard of that. Who wrote it?
Night They Vanished, sorry. That's Vanessa Savage. So I listened to Vanessa talk at the Crime Writers, Crime Fest.
Crime Fest in Bristol.
And I really enjoyed her talk, so I've got that one on.
I think I'm actually thinking of The Night She Vanished, so I don't know who wrote that.
You're on what one, sorry?
I think I'm actually thinking of The Night She Vanished. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about it, which obviously isn't the same one that you're talking about.
No, I don't know. That's the problem, isn't it? It's just like remembering so many books out. There's been a lot of good books out today, and just go around. It's like you end up with an armful. Every time I go to the supermarket, I end up with an armful of books.
Who were you next to on the shelves today?
Well, Sainsbury's. Oh God, who was I? Let me just have a little look at my photo I took.
I'm going to say you must have photos.
I did think. Yeah, but I just look so stupid. So I was saying I just look so embarrassed by myself. I also can't see my glasses.
Are you going to do the thing of pulling your phone right away from you like I have to?
The old woman thing, yeah. But I don't know if you can't see that, can you? Look at me. It's like...
Oh.
Embarrassing. I can't see now because there are a lot of empty shelves, as you can see, because they haven't stocked everything. Because it's Thursday, isn't it? They do the changeover. So I was lucky to find it actually, because I think they've not really done their thing. No, I can't see what's. I think I'm now standing also in front of the different I can't remember. I was too selfish and just looking at my own.
It's exciting, of course.
Hmm.
So you're not going to be thinking of that, and it's the first time I've ever asked anybody that. So maybe I won't ask that again because I really didn't think that one through.
Well, normally I would actually take a picture of the whole thing, but I don't know why I didn't do that.
Probably because you were nervous because you're taking a picture and feeling awkward about it. You just really need to go for it next time. You need your sons with
Oh,
pom-poms, cheerleading.
I took it. Well, it's a weird place in this Sainsbury's. I'm next to The Long Weekend by Julie Macmillan and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton? Is that actually Hillary Clinton, is it? State of Terror with Louise Penny writing it as well.
Wow.
Mm. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you can see. You can't. There's lights.
Yeah, well, I can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But at the bottom, I wanted to put it up to eye level, but never mind. Perhaps I'll be eye level somewhere else. I just hope people. I like to see some shelfies, as we call them, don't we? So hopefully people will start sending me a few shelfies from either Asda, Sainsbury's, or Tesco, just to see.
Have you had pictures sent to you of your books from like anywhere that you've been like, whoa, okay?
Oh crikey, the serial killer's wife, like quite a few places actually. Crikey, I've had pictures from like Canada and the serial killer's wife came out in Italy as well, and it was a really nice hardback edition in Italy. So there's a couple of I've met some nice Italian people who are lovely and sent pictures of themselves with the book. So that's nice. I don't understand what they've then said, but you know, it's been you do that Google Translate stuff and it comes up completely different to what you think. Oh, it's all odd, isn't it? So, but it seems like it went down quite well in Italy, so that was good. It sold well.
Maybe you should start a book in Italy. Then
Well,
you've got an excuse to write it off and go and
I haven't been on
go
holiday.
writing.
I want to say 10 years, but I think it's probably more than 10 years. Well, I think it is about time I had a holiday and somewhere where I could set the book and go and do some research. But I don't think
Where's top
at
of
the
your
moment,
list?
top of my list to go. Oh, I see. I do. I've always wanted to go to New England. I like Maine and like you know where Stephen King sets a lot of his books in Maine and so.
See, I automatically go to Jessica Fletcher.
Ah,
Murder She Wrote.
love it. Yeah.
One of my favourites.
Stephen King was somebody I used to read when I was a teenager, and I think I can see Stephen King books on your shelves as well, apart from The Shining, which I haven't read, but I will do that.
The Shining's there. I've got
Yeah.
and I have got others, but my office is a bit of like an explosion in a bookshop.
Well, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
So
So yeah, since he set a lot of his in Maine, I think I grew up always wanting to visit Maine. So I would like to do that. But I don't know really where else. New Zealand. I'd quite like to go to New Zealand, but that's a hell of a trek. So you know, maybe not.
it is, but apparently it's amazing.
Yeah, they don't have the big spiders there, do they?
No,
It's
that
a
was the thing. So I know somebody, yeah, who went for a couple of years, a year or 2 years, I forget. But yeah, she had family over there, and that was one of the things that enticed her to go, that they didn't have the spiders. So
I could not cope with that. A friend of mine went to Australia for a few years, and the pictures that she used to send, just now that's scary. That's like a proper cannot do that. But I was going to say because in The Serial Killer's Daughter, Jenny suffers with night terrors, and that's something I used to suffer from as a teenager, and they were
right.
always related to spiders, always. So it would be I was in this dream, I'm stuck in a shed or something, and the spiders are coming onto me, so I have to bolt out of the room. And my poor mum and dad, bless them, I would be screaming and running out at like 90 miles an hour out of my bedroom. But yeah, and I unfortunately I don't know if it is hereditary, but my son is the same. He suffers really bad night terrors, and he throws himself out windows, and he's got a broken leg currently because he did something during a night terror. And
Oh my
yeah,
word.
so I've got a little bit of when I was writing about Jenny's sort of night terrors, she doesn't have them as extreme because I didn't want them to be that kind of where she wakes up everybody.
Yeah.
So she's got more of a blackout kind of aspect of, things. But yeah, no, my son, bless him, is a screamer. And
No.
how this baby, obviously the baby's due next month, I'm a little bit concerned how he's going to be once the baby is born. But
You never know, maybe.
but he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's 25 now, so.
Hopefully this is a turning point for him, because that must be terrifying.
It is terrifying. I was going to say, obviously, now he's with his wife and she's putting up with it. But when he was here, it was just full on. Some would be 3 or 4 times a night he'd be doing it.
Wow.
And, so, yeah, but we use all these things as authors,
Absolutely. Well, you've got to, haven't you? Got to make some use of it. It's got to go somewhere, otherwise it goes back in. You need it out.
Absolutely.
We've only got 8 minutes left, and I want to know what have been your memorable moments so far since you've been an author, because you've not just written 2 books, but I want to know as well what comes with the 3rd one in this kind of series.
Right, okay. So, oh God. Well, the highlights, did you say? So I've already forgotten the question. Highlights.
Yeah.
There's so many because it's just been, I mean, I think obviously one of the biggest highlights for the serial killer's wife was like selling over 100,000 copies. That's always that's just, and thank you. And that was lovely and very weird to kind of imagine that. I mean, obviously not all those people have kind of read it because we all got them on the shelves that we've not read. But I've had like, I don't know, is it 13,000 reviews or something?
Wow.
A lot of reviews for Serial Killer's Wife, so that's phenomenal, and I think that is really nice. And I've heard from a lot of people who read it and enjoyed it, so that's obviously a highlight. I don't know, just being able to keep writing is like great, isn't it? Getting another deal, because at the end of, I only had 1 book deal for Serial Killer's Wife, so it's like each one is a tag on, if you see. So Serial Killer's Daughter, the highlight is being a Fan Britain pick and having the special edition in Asda, because it's, just that added little bit of extra, isn't it, that makes the books a bit different. So that's nice. I don't know. Just being able to, I've never done Bloody Scotland, so that's obviously going to be a highlight when I get there, but that's obviously not till September. And Serial Killer's Sister. So at the moment, that's in its really early stages. So that's in the planning, and there's a big synopsis, but I've got to. They've been living in my head, so the characters there are living in my head at the moment. So I'll let them stew a little bit, talk to me like they do, and then I'll start writing. So I need to get going with that because it's out next year. So that's now I've got to get my head down and start writing that one.
So how long did the first two take to write?
Okay. Not long at all. 4 months or so.
4 months.
That's the first draft. I mean, I'm not saying that at the beginning. I mean, that is the first draft. When I handed it in, it was 4 months from there. So very full on. But I think a lot of the Serial Killer's Wife, like you were saying about, in 2020, we didn't have much to do. So I was at home and I wasn't, because my family, I wasn't able to see my family. I had no ties, and nobody was phoning to say, can you take me here, there, and everywhere, because I don't, there's nowhere to go. I'm not allowed out the house. So that made it easier to write during that time. But yeah, the Serial Killer's Daughter, I think I had to really focus, and there's a lot of having to put everything else aside, try and get it done in that short time. And now I think what are we in, July, August? I've got 4 months again for the Serial Killer's Sister. So,
but you've got the muscle memory. You've done it before, so
yeah, there is that, isn't there? And you just think, it's doable, obviously. If nothing else comes up, because I've got the baby next month, and there's just so much going on. And I think life does get in the way, and deadlines can be a little bit traumatic. But I will say, I was saying something about deadlines to some people today. Don't know who, can't remember. But I work quite well, under pressure. It's almost like I wait until it's really, really, I have to do it, and then suddenly I just pull it out the bag. But I've always been like that as a child. So at school, I was the one on the floor of the toilets of the school doing my homework minutes before it was due in. So, you know,
I think we've just got something else we've got in common.
I think we've got quite a lot, haven't we?
We really have. We have now got kind of 3 minutes. So do you want to show the books again and just tell everyone where they can buy them?
And palm, because it's like an oven in here right now.
Another thing we've got in common.
So,
I knew I should have taken this shirt off.
The Scariest daughter, and that is out. Obviously, oh look, let me just make sure that I've made
an effort.
Yeah, I didn't. My nails have gone though because I can't keep nail varnish on for more than 5 minutes.
You've got to say the tagline again.
The tagline is "Murder in the Blood."
So
that one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to just quickly read out the blurb?
Ooh.
In the dark,
I'll
hold it up like that to see it. In a sleepy Devon village, a woman is taken from the streets. Local vet Jenny is horrified. This kind of thing doesn't happen here. But it's not the first time she's been so close to a crime scene. The daughter of a prolific serial killer, she spent her whole life running from who she really is. And the crime is harrowingly similar to the ones her father committed all those years ago. But she's not her father's daughter, is she? Is she? So there's a lot of.
No, I've not got that far yet.
There's a lot of nature versus nurture kind of things in this, and you know, how much are we born with, and how much do we learn? So, and the other one is the serial killer's. The serial killer's wife is the first one. So I mean, they're very nicely done, aren't they? Like,
I do remember the first time I saw the serial killer's wife. It was an image on Twitter, and it stuck out straight away. It really struck me. I was really drawn to it. And it bothered me that I had to wait so long to read it because there's no time for me to choose. I have to book people in just so I can read the books. So that's why you're here. I wanted to read the book.
Oh, the yellow coat. See, I bought a yellow coat for this so I could go out. And I had the T-shirt, which was over there. But I haven't got the orange coat yet, so I've just got the top. Because it's too hot for a blinking
coat. It's too hot for an orange coat. What the heck?
So yeah, the Serial Killer's Daughter you can get in Asda, Sainsbury's, and Tesco, and Waterstones. You can order it, and then online, obviously the usual places. Out today. So yeah.
And where's the one with the extra chapter? Is that Asda?
It's Asda, and the extra like Q&A and book club questions is in Fern Britain Tesco pick. So,
how do you feel when you're the Fern Britain pick?
Oh, that was really nice, isn't it? Oh, that's really exciting. The serial killer's wife was a Karen Slaughter pick at Asda. So yeah, that was nice. Like Tesco, because Tesco sold a lot of serial killer's wife. It was in there for quite some time, so that was really good. So I think that helped with them being, you know, wanting to take quite a lot of serial killer's daughter. And yeah, Fern Britain having picked. I was a little surprised. You know, it's a nice surprise, obviously, but Fern Britain isn't perhaps somebody I thought would pick the serial killer's daughter, because obviously her fiction is quite women's fiction, isn't it? And not scary or not like. So yeah, it's really good. Very exciting. Shame you don't get to meet her.
That is a shame. Maybe you should try. Maybe you need to put a call in and say you'd like a photo of the two of you holding the book.
Yeah. Can you do that for me?
It would be good for people. Yeah, go for it. I'll do it. I'll put a call in. Sure, she'll take my call.
Of course.
Sure, she won't run away screaming from the mad woman. She has no clue who it is.
Well, you have to know who I
am. Alice's assistant for the day, just to get the photograph. Thank you so much. It's already 8 o'clock.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all the members and the admins. I hope, Donna, you've had a nice meal out with Malcolm and I believe Linda. I'm sure it was Linda. Sorry if it wasn't. I read a lot of things and I get confused with names. I have waited for this interview with you, Alice, for months. Thank you so much. I've been so excited and I can't wait to finish the book and then can't wait for the next one to come out.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Thank you. There we go, we're off.